Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good to see you here. Surprise little late night stream. Just to get to the point where I've gone too long and then I just need to do it, you know, regardless of the time. Little short stream. I've been working on this weird little, not taking it seriously Halloween sketch. So I've just been having fun with it. So it's in my little sketchbook, my I don't know what you'd call it. It's like 6 by 8.5. But yeah, thanks for following the Twitch, Rebellious Mew. I appreciate you. And Stephanie, good to see you. Doing a shorty tonight. Q's This Is Halloween song. Right? My whole silly idea behind this painting was that the pumpkins are like the souls of unfortunate humans, and they take on their faces, or they get a face, maybe even representing, you know, what they did wrong or what their personality was. How's my voice versus the music and everything, by the way? I have my mic up closer this time, so it could be a little sensitive. I'm trying to have it on kind of sort of like boom mic, so. This ain't gonna get you ready in the arena. I like the painting, bro. What's up, dude? I appreciate you. This is a more silly kind of random one, but it's good to see you here, man. I appreciate you hopping in. Had some fire games. Hey, appreciate the follow, Nutstraft. Appreciate you. Sounds good. Great, great. I want to be able to talk at I want to be able to talk at a reasonable volume, if that makes sense. I wonder why that appeared in 2 spots. Well, you know I can't read your comment, but it's on the screen. Hope you're having a good day if you're a real person. Wish there was a way to whatever, it doesn't matter. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Just on break at work, I seen you live. We're gonna get it next season. Yeah, man, definitely. I'm hitting 2100. I can feel it. I'm finally trained hard enough, I think, to where I'm gonna make it. Especially with you on my team. Alright, gotta get back to work. See you in some games this weekend. Hell yeah, brother. I'll probably be on for a few games later. We'll see. Oh, did I freeze? I feel like it froze on me. You guys still hearing me and seeing me? Okay, good, good. I got a confirmation on my end. I do a Twitch pop-out window on my stream manager. I put it on the other monitor, and sometimes it gets a little loopy. So, no freeze. Good, good, good. We did get a little tilted here, though. No, you're good. Sweet, sweet. Anyway, hope you have a good day at work, man. Or the rest of your night. I know you said your night shift. I forget about that. You crazy, man. I tried that once. That was my first and my last time. I guess if it paid good enough. But it didn't pay good enough. The one I tried. I was a security guard. Alright, what was I doing? So I've been in a little decision making process here with the value. I can't decide if I'm going to have it a bright theme or a dark theme. I'm almost definitely gonna have it a dark theme, but like how so, right? So I'm thinking it sort of gets darker as it goes into the back of the woods that was my goal. And so I'm still getting used to the watercolor process where it benefits you to go light to dark. And I've done a lot of acrylic. And acrylic you can go either way, but a lot of times you go dark to light with acrylic. You lay down like say you're doing a bush, you can put the leaves that are gonna be like technically inside the bush, the shadow leaves, right? And then you can dab slightly lighter leaves over those, and then then the highlight leaves on top of those leaves, in kind of that sort of order. With watercolor, unless you're doing gouache on top later, you gotta do the highlights first. That, you know, it's said that you're not going to be using gouache, which I do. I have some, I'll show you in my palette here. Taken me a bit to memorize and get it down, but most of these are watercolors except for this little square right here. I have all my primaries laid out in gouache, and then this white here on the corner. This is actually white here, it's just contaminated, but this is gouache white, and these are primaries with black. And they're just more opaque. So these are all transparent paints, and these are more opaque. I recently had to go through my palette and clean it. Because all the colors were a mess. I've tried this brush lately. I really like it. I've seen it multiple times on videos, and I eventually found myself at the art store like, hey, I gotta try one for myself. And I like it. It's kind of like, what did they call it? It's an oval wash. So what I like about it is it holds a lot of water, and because brushes that hold a lot of watercolor, I'm learning, help you to have an even color. Helps you have an even color. I'm still working on that technique. Can't get it down. I'm getting it down, but I find with a lot of the other brushes they run out of water real fast, so they give you different effects. I'm just gonna turn my mic down on hair and sensitivity, and right there now it is lower. Can you give me a voice check? A second voice check in chat, and let me know if this is okay. Because I think it, right now the way I'm talking is relaxed and nice. I'm not feeling like I have to talk louder when my mic is like farther away from me. So, and today we're streaming on oh, I realized I made a mistake. I made it today, but I forgot to change it. 1 second. So the discount code up top is supposed to be pumpkin. There we go. And that'll get you some money off of my website. Before I lose my train of thought, I'm streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch all at the same time right now, so if you feel like it, go give all those a follow. If you want to hop on another one, please do. I am doing something really quick on my other monitor here. I'm going to switch you over. So here's the website. When you go to it, it's planetjokum.com, and we have the new alien painting that happened recently. I don't know if I can get that a little bigger. There we go. Excuse me. So the story behind this one is I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do Inktober. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna do all the prompts together, and I just didn't get around to it. And this was the first prompt I did, which was I think it was a dream, and basically I just got so into it that it took me several days to finish, and I just wanted to see it through. But yeah, this one's officially available for print, and the original, it's a smaller 9 by 11 inch, I believe, artboard. Yeah, and the prints come out amazing. I recently added some new ones too. We also have the cactus mines up as a print, as well as the original, and we also have the last joint up as a print, which this was not here before. What if let me see if I just click on it here. Nope, won't let me do that. Open image in new tab. Does that work? Okay, cool. Let's try to get it bigger for y'all, but that is a new print, and let me tell you, I have one, and it came out great. And the other one I added was A Day in Kingston Springs right here. In my recent art show, it got a lot of attention. Like, and a lot of people requested that I make prints of it, so I brought it back from the graveyard, and it now has prints available along with all the other ones. Yeah, and there at this point, I remember when I first did this website, there wasn't that many options, but there are a lot of options too. Oh, that reminds me, I did a little bit of organizing too, so everything now that's actually sold out should be at the very bottom, and then as we work up, we have things on sale and things that are still available. I forgot to, as I'm saying this, I added a bunch more, because I realized they were on like a secret page that wasn't loading unless you like found it in the sub menus. So I've taken it all out to the first page, and you just scroll through a giant gallery. I added these small prints here. These were going like hotcakes at the art tent, so I figured I'd just throw them up on the website. There's only 3 left of this one and 1 left of this one. These are ones I actually have in person. Originals like Mountain Town. I threw up Backrooms Level 7. We threw up Saturated Falls. The Dwarven Forge wasn't up here yet, which was just a random sketchbook, and these are smaller ones. So some of them will come with another drawing on the back of them if they're bought, because of the way that they're in my sketchbook. And I just decided, I'll give them that. Basically, yeah. So check it out. On top of that, if you go to the top, you click stickers and merch. Is something I've reorganized, so it's just simpler. And this is actually a button here that says glassware and coasters. If you click that, it'll go to the Easter eggs. But these are the stickers. Just letting you know that I have stickers too. There's been a lot of people ordering those, and that's fun. I gotta order myself more health potions, but there it is. Appreciate you staying through the spiel. But yeah, discount code today is pumpkin, in honor of this ridiculous pumpkin face. Probably move it over a little. Just get chat out of the way. I know that background isn't great over that white text, but well, I do have something for it. Thought I did anyway. Oh, right here. And then instead of making it, oops. It's shift then? Yeah, it's shift. Okay. What I can do is I can go to filters and do this. Just give it a little opacity change. I can help you see the chat a little better, huh? It's taking me a while to relearn OBS, but I like it better overall. It's not as like pretty as Streamlabs is, but it's kind of like Blender versus I don't know, Unity. That was a bad comparison. Don't take that to heart. I'm just reactivating some colors here on the side. My palette dried out. So I think I'm gonna keep rolling with this bush color here, and I'm gonna use sap green because sap already has more red in it, which we have in this light theme anyway. And I'm gonna use blue to darken it. I'll bring it over here while I mix. I want to see it closer to my face anyway. And I've been using this sort of burnt sienna because I figured, you know, it's Halloween, it's a deciduous forest, it's gonna have fall colors. And I still learn color every day. I don't really know exactly what color I'm looking for right now. This is where I play. I didn't realize I was that off shot, my bad. And have sort of that there. I'll grab a little red. A little orange. And toss those over there for kind of like a flavor change. It's good to figure out like a flavor change for color variation. And I'll consider this like the next shade darker. And I already went in with too much water here on my brush. So something I've learned about working on this table, and at first I was like, why is it doing that? That must be a watercolor thing. And then I realized like it's a my table thing. So my table's on a slight hill because it's just nice to have things angled towards you when you draw. And I've been working with this thing that happens where when I put paint on it, it'll gather up on the bottom. See that? So it's all fine and good, but it's just something I've been working with. I've also been working with and trying to play with like letting the water do its thing more. And it's good for like being a little bit more opaque or having different variations in the value. It's hard to explain, but I've had to get used to like where the water likes to sit with different amounts, and especially with large amounts of water. At first it seemed unpredictable, but once I got used to it, I think one of the first things I started taking advantage of was how where it gets darker where it sits. So I figure out how to let it pool up in the spots where I want a little bit of that, I don't know, we can call it ambient occlusion. And I don't know if I'm tripping or if like I just color in the lines good enough or something, but I swear there's something about pen ink lines that are like, they seem like ever so slightly waterphobic or hydrophobic, to where you get it just up close and I swear it stops on the line. It's the weirdest thing. But what it really probably is that I'm coloring in the lines well, and water goes where the water is. That's another thing to learn about watercolor. So like if a spot on the page is dry, it'll stay, but if it's wet, it'll kind of siphon over to that location. So that's the other theory, is I think, because you can see it went over the line there into the bush below because it was already wet. So just little things like that I'm learning every time I play with watercolor. Colors are so great. Thank you, Steph. They came out a little bit more muted than I would like in this particular case, but it's all good. We're just gonna have a good old muted theme. It's good to pick spots in the drawing you don't care as much about to like test your colors. And if you're really scared, have a piece of paper off to the side. Test them there first. I'm gonna go a little bit more red with this next bush. And one thing you can do is you can take whatever green you're using. In this case, I'm using sap green. And you can mix that with red. And it'll sort of give you this brown, a rust sort of color. Figuring out all the different shortcuts to different colors. And so I'm learning it pulls where I stop. So if I drag this way and stop over here, that's where it's gonna pull. If I drag over here and stop, that's where it's gonna pull. So I've been dragging towards where I want the shadow and stopping. There's something you can take home with you. Especially with a brush that holds a high amount of water like this one. I'm gonna experiment and let little leaf textures dry. And here's the other part about this brush is you can cover a large area with it, or you can use this the very fine tip that it has and get pretty detailed before you have to switch. And that's what I've leaned towards these days much more, is the more tools that do more than one thing, the better for me. I went in with a little too much water there, but we're gonna just let it happen because I'm learning. It's almost like if you mark where you want the water to go, or don't, you mark where you want the water to not go past quick, and then let it pool, it's safe. You almost have to like mark the boundaries first. It's weird. At least with this brush in this particular case, or this certain amount of water I'm using. We see how it opposes the edge of that pumpkin pretty well. Like there's that pool of water is higher than the paper below it, the ink below it. I could make the sky purple, you're right, but if I do, I think it's gonna have to be a very dark purple. Dark. Because I think that what I was picturing in my brain, I don't know if I'm gonna pull it off, because first of all, I'm watercoloring, so I'm working on my weakness, and two, I just don't know how it's gonna go. Because I think what I'm learning with this medium is you have to really go hard to make something dark. It stays overall pretty light. And I would always be so terrified of darkening everything too much, because it's like once you get the paint on there, it's on there with watercolor. That's the color it's gonna be. Can't really lift it off the paper. But I think with the same color theme here that I have, I'm gonna keep darkening all the way back to the sky and kind of work my way towards the candles. And deal with the candles later. I tried a little bit of candle shading, but I decided I wanted to save them for a little bit later while I think about what to do. Went a little bit more green with this one here. You know, because in fall everything's dying, but not everything's dead. There's still some green ones left behind. I gotta be careful to not put my hand in one of those puddles. Those will take a minute to dry. I think in this one I'm gonna take a mix. So this one will be like half green and I think what I'm gonna do too is a little reverse engineering, come back with the pen, pick out some blobs, and I always enjoy that way of drawing because there's no rules. However you get it to look like you need to is the rule. I would say every time you draw, there's potential to invent a new technique. So I'm throwing in some red while it's still all wet. A little too much water there, so I'm gonna take it back. Just moving it up slightly. It's basically the scene in the middle here is the thing that has to pop. It's not about these bushes for me. I'm just gonna take my time in one of these areas, some of these areas, because I don't want to go over these trees or his scythe. I want to keep that as white as possible. Learn my lesson with having to come back with gouache later. You want to keep that to a minimum as possible. And it's not so much because you can't get it to look the way it looks, or the way or get it to look the way you're trying to make it look, but it's because it ends up changing texture, so you have like this nice flat paper mat, and then you can kind of see globs of gouache, and I don't really like how that looks. And often when you mess up with the darks and you gotta go over it with like some white gouache, it's not quite the white of the paper that it was before. That's another thing. I found before using that to fix a mistake, I would want to end up painting in every other bit of white that was that type of white, so that it just matched the gouache, and that would end up making it look better overall. Because if not, it ended up just looking like a sort of watercolor painting with a bit of white out. So that's just something I've learned from doing that. I've done it many times because, you know, you discover that shit at first, and it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna do this on every painting. But I've kind of come full circle with that and use it when I have to. That's why it's designated to a small area in my palette. You make it look effortless. Well, I assure you it takes effort to make it effortless, if that makes sense. I don't think it's ever 100% effortless. I'd say the more accurate thing to say is that most of it gets effortless, but you still find yourself having to solve problems, which I think makes it fun. There's always sort of this process, you know, like if you can draw everything in the world perfectly from memory, it doesn't matter, and that part doesn't matter, great, but there's still going to be this effort in like, what am I going to make? How am I going to make it? I think a lot more effort ends up lying in like your idea rather than how to draw it. That's what I find these days, is that I want my idea to be better. Like if I'm drawing like a teapot, right? Or something. It's like, where's the teapot? What's the story behind the teapot? Is it a legendary teapot? Does it glow? Does it have magical powers? Is there a genie in the teapot? Or is it just a normal teapot? Is it on the table? What's the lighting? What's the camera angle of that teapot? Is it underneath it? Am I looking down at it? Am I on the side? Is it a perfect profile? What perspective am I gonna do it in? Am I doing it in fisheye? Am I gonna do it in 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4 point, 5 point? And so much can just go into this simple idea of like, I'm gonna draw a teapot on a table, right? And I think that's where like the hard part comes in for me often, is like I think every time I do art, I want to make it meaningful. And as much as I find myself diddling on a napkin or in my sketchbook, I think when it comes to presenting things to the world, I want to have more thought and story behind it. Is the teapot short and stout? Yeah. Yeah, it's short and stout. Alright. Officially. But hope any of that made half a bit of sense. I'm grabbing some orange. Hopefully when I just punched the mic it didn't hurt your ears. See if I move it up a little more. Keep bumping my hand on it. Let's see. Gotta refill that green a little bit. Ultramarine right there. And a little bit of, I think it's called Prussian blue, or no, Earl Grey? Or something like that. Payne's, no, I think it's Payne's Grey. Something like that, I forget. Yes, that's one reason why we're such fans, because your creativity and imagination beyond your beautiful art. Well, I'm glad y'all like my ideas. A bit shy releasing them sometimes. Y'all help with them a ton. Y'all come up with a lot of the ideas, honestly. Okay. Gonna darken it a bit. Toss the dash of black. Help speed the darkness along. That sounded like I was making some sort of evil potion. A dash of black. To ease the entrance of the evil through the portal. But yeah, I like that I can pretty much do most of everything with this brush. This is the only brush I've used so far. I'm experimenting with the texture here. I don't know if I like it yet. I think it brings too much attention. But it will get darker right now. And we will use purple. A step request. I'll start making it over here. What I think it is with this gray is it has blue in it. It's a blue gray, but it's very dark. See, it's still very transparent though. I think I'm gonna grab a nice dab of black. Okay. Now I want a blacker version of this off to the side. And bring some more of these out here. I actually liked that I had black on my brush already. So that's another thing is during the painting, let your like palette colors mix with each other. It's okay. Because with watercolor you can get like a bristly brush and wash the colors off and they go back to normal pretty quick. Without too much wasted paint. If you need to reset them, I find that I don't need too much and I can do several paintings, but during a painting, don't worry about it too much. I remember when I first started, I was getting so worked up about different colors, touching different colors, doesn't matter. Yes, so then... And... Okay. I still kind of treat my palette the same way. I actually like holding it that the colors are level now. They aren't bleeding all around. Had to adjust my microphone there. Alright, I'm gonna take some black, some darkness, and see if I can get this little space. Yep. Didn't have to switch brushes. And to be honest, there might not even be a need for like separation of a sky, because it'll be like what I'm picturing. You know, picture like what it looks like to look into the woods from a campfire setting. Look out into the woods from a campfire and how the trees fade pretty quickly, goes to black. I always kind of set myself up for like a learning thing too when I do a drawing idea, like secretly. And I think the one with this is like I want to really like learn with like working from light to dark and like really go all the way to dark or something. And it will dry much later, as you can already see the other colors did. This isn't nearly dark enough, but I've learned about this. So I'm kind of like just dabbing here and letting it pool up, essentially. See how fine tipped this brush is, or how big it is if I turn it sideways. does the job, man. Fill in those white dots. Too many white dots left behind, I find. Looks a little incomplete, I guess, for lack of a better word. Oh, cut to that tree a little bit there. Okay, that tree will be darker than it is now at some point. Just learned watercolor too. It's a little bit more of a patient medium than some other ones. Like acrylic, you can kind of get in there and toss it up there and see what happens, and if you mess up, you can cover it with more acrylic and keep going until it looks good. And where this is more methodical. Is that the right word? More calculated. Good. I found in my early watercolor paintings, I tried approaching it with acrylic mindset, and what I found was that I would end up covering too much too quick, if that makes sense. We are infusing our black with purple here, so that we're purple shadow themed. It's a subtle thing. I've started not that saturated, so I gotta stay that way in this particular color palette. Gotta take your time around edges, because it's not as easy to come back and fix them without it looking like you did. That's the key. Like with acrylic, you know, you fix and fix and fix, and it just keeps looking like the same layer. But there's something about watercolor that's a little more fussy with that. It's kind of like how with pencil, you know, you can only draw and erase on the same spot of the paper so many times, if that makes sense. And believe it or not, that will probably not be that dark. Just getting base color here too. Bring more dimension to the bushes and things after this stage, which I probably won't get to. Gonna be ending here shortly. Sorry to have such a shorty. I just kind of wanted to let y'all know I'm alive and streaming still. Just had a little bit of a work couple weeks. Here's where I'm gonna have to work out, like, alright, why is that even light, right? And you can see it's already drying much later. Steve says hi and he's loving the Halloween vibe. What's up, Steve? Hope you're having a wonderful day, wonderful night. Figured I'd be thematic. Can almost see what the color is going to be when it dries for like the first second I put it on before it pools up. Almost like you end up dabbing to like let water drip onto the painting and then pool up. It's not always like a stroke of the paintbrush. It's like I established the perimeter, the hydro barrier we can call it, and then I sort of scoop paint. Certain papers, by the way, you get a little drop like that. If you get to it within a second, try to slide it over it. Gets most of it, if not all of it. Second it bites the paper, though, it's all over. It's all over, kid. I'm just getting darker and muckier with them as I go. Nice thing about watercolor too, it's really easy to reset your palette if you need to, which I do sometimes because I work with a smaller palette. You can just wet it and get a sponge, it comes right off. No problem. Now I need to take a second to make a little clip for the gram. Cause content and reels, that's why we're all doing them. So let's see. It's probably gonna get in the way for a second. And I'll do this spot. Making a video while making a video. Making a video on a video. That'll be good. I've gone and I've smudged. You can see that puddle left behind ages ago still wasn't even close to dry. All right. And I don't mind if some of these pen and ink lines get lost, especially in the background. Hey, what's up, Kate? Good to see you here. Catching me on the tail end, going a little bit longer, but just wanted to hop in and say, hey, happy Halloween. It's been too long, way too long. Let you know that I'm still arting and I'm alive, just sometimes I don't convince myself to stream often enough. Hey, Kenny, what's good, man? Hey, man, I was thinking I wanted you to do a painting or drawing with just you and the crystal. Okay. I like that. I'm gonna keep that in mind. You know what? We'll even enter it into. Let me see here. So glad you got some painting time. Yeah, me too. I'm glad I did too. As it got later and later, and as I was doing dishes and chores and dinner, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, but you know what? I'm glad I convinced myself. 1 second there, Kenny. Doing this for you. That's not it. Where did I put that? Drawings. Probably. Documents. That's what I needed to do. I'm trying to find our, do I have it pinned in Discord, maybe? I do. There we go. I have a prompt list that, we add ideas to, that we've painted. And I'm gonna take you here. Boop. Oh wow, look, it even took your crystal ball in, what the hell? We'll keep the crystal ball, because that's funny that it did that. Thanks for the idea, man. Appreciate it. Anyway. Back to the last 5-10 minutes here. What is exactly a gypsy woman? Is there like an archetype version of a gypsy woman? Something I hear so often, but I always scramble to have a locked-in visual for one in my head. Romani. Okay. That's like the nationality they usually are. And then the puddles dry into all cool little shapes too, if you haven't noticed. That's the other reason why I like experimenting with the little puddles. Or Irish travelers, look those up. Romani / Irish travelers. So that's their thing, is they're on the move. So that makes sense, because the gypsy girl thing, it means like you're always... Okay, so like, this is what came up. Like this kind of look right here? No? No, that's a Muslim. Romani. Because you know, like the OG ones probably look nothing like how we depict them. Romanians are known gypsies and fortune tellers. So then, oops, holding multiple things in my hands. Okay, this is it, right? This seems more familiar here. Yep, and then there's the word travel with it too. Okay. Alright, cool. You learn something every day. I kind of had a feeling, you know, but these days I don't like to just have feelings about things. I like to, like, confirm. Make sure I'm picturing, like, correct things in my brain, you know, before they get cemented in. Yes, bright colors, yes. Don't ever call one a gypsy. Isn't that funny? It's what people call them, but they hate it. Classic. It's like a bunch of girls that want to be mermaids. Oh, I'm a gypsy girl. I'm a mermaid. It's like, sure you are. They have, there's a whole industry that they make mermaid tails. Like literal wearable mermaid tails. Did you know that? Like, I have no hate. Like, do what you want to do, but I am going to find things funny. That's, to me, that's funny, man. And a little bit of a waste of resources, but hey, we do weirder stuff than that. Go ahead and wear your mermaid tails. But it's funny as hell. I feel like these days on the internet, I always feel like I have to defend myself when I say something like that, because people get so worked up about it sometimes. Hope that no one would get that worked up about mermaids. I'm pretty sure there's like a whole convention that happens somewhere. Why wouldn't there be, right? I'm okay with... Yes, Kate, I'm okay with the calling gypsy. I hate when people say they are getting Gypped. Yes, gypsy isn't associated with stealing. Thievery historically, so gypsy is derogatory. Gyps is used synonymously with swindled. Okay. Why? Because they were like highwaymen too? Or like at least the ones that spoiled the bad apples that spoiled it for the whole group. They were like traveling, but also like, give me all your coin. It's like playing Skyrim, happening across a couple bandits. I associate so many real life visuals with Skyrim. They just plug in so good. $500 gold or your life is mine. I don't know, what do they say? They're like, hand it over or I'll take it myself. Picture like the Khajiit. They kind of tricked to scare a lot of people as the child from town to town. Gotcha. They sold items that were handmade, charged fair price. Like some people felt because travelers were selling it, it was overpriced. Scammed. Okay, I see. Okay, but now here bears, you know, begs the question. Whose fault is it then? Is it us for calling them gypsies, or is it their fault because they went town to town and overpriced and stole shit? Or is it that we gave them that name and they didn't really overprice and steal shit to begin with, and we're wrong? I'm not studied up on my gypsy history. My apologies. And they were always the fortune tellers with the crystal ball. Okay. So then what is it that people like about gypsies? When you see like an American girl with like her iced coffee and dreads, be like, I'm such a gypsy girl though. It's my soul animal. I'm a gypsy. Like, what does that mean? Like, what are they admiring about them then? Are they just not educated? And they just don't know, and really they're calling themselves swindlers. Because it's always said in such a positive light. It's funny. But see, there you go. We were talking about history in Discord earlier, and like, what's fun about it? Like, I find that shit more fun than like, we have to learn about this period of time because our forefathers said that the kids need to learn it. I like finding out about like modern terms that we use, but we don't give a second look. So we're just like walking around saying shit we don't even realize what we're saying. They didn't do it. There was prejudice because they were homeless. Okay. So it's kind of like an old term for a homeless person. Okay, so it's mainly about being nomadic then. I figured, like the whole traveling thing, like, oh, I'm a gypsy girl, you know, you won't find me in the same place for more than a year, so that makes me a gypsy girl. I get it. All right. So I was somewhat accurate in my brain by thinking like, oh, it's someone that likes to travel, but I probably wasn't picturing it proper, you know? Like I can picture the black and white picture of a roughed up real OG gypsy girl. I think those are trees, can't decide. No, dude, the gypsies are beneath the landed gentry. Don't know what that means. The gypsies were blamed for everything because they were disposable. I see, yeah, so it's like... Yeah, I get it. It's almost like a old Renaissance-y term for... Like, it's the homeless travelers. Coming in to take my peaches from my stand again. Damn gypsies. As a joke, of course. Makes me wonder how it will be looked at in like 300 years. Like, yeah, they were called streamers. Like, what's a streamer, Dad? They used to sit in their room and put cameras on themselves. What's a camera? You know, after the next meteor hits and it resets, that's what I mean. What do you mean they just sat in their room and talked to cameras? Well, they tried to make money from it, son. Some of them became monetized. Well, then why does everyone make fun of them, Dad? Well, back in the day, there were bad streamers that used to just steal other people's content and just react to it and add no value. So they got a bad name. I'm glad I provided the chat with conversation. Yeah, hell yeah, man. I mean, anything's welcome here, you know, as long as we don't make it like, keep it respectful and, you know, don't get me canceled. We're good. But we enjoy the deep talk here. Always welcome. Yes, the children might steal, but because they were kids, not because they're gypsies. No, they were stupid gypsies. Born a stupid gypsy. Did you know that's how people fucking think? Oh man. So silly. No, yeah, I mean, you know that like if you're breaking into a bank and stealing money, that's one thing. But if you're like breaking into a convenience store, because not that I'm promoting this, but I'm saying like in the old times, like if you're stealing food, like you're probably there's a chance, the heightened chance I would say, that you're probably in more need than someone, you know, you're probably in more genuine need than someone that's like breaking into a jewelry store and or something, as like for comparison, if that makes sense. I'm gonna grab my black here. Like, when you're talking to a camera, what is money, Dad? Yeah, exactly. I'm 38 years old and my daughter asked me what a payphone was. Oh no! That made me feel old because I legit had to use like a few of those. And you're older than me, I'm 31, but still, like, I've been around long enough where I found myself using those a few times, like, legitimately, not just like, oh, let's use a payphone for fun, because, like, they used to be a thing and we found one, like, when they used to be everywhere. Payphones were 10 cents and I could fill my gas tank for 10 cents. Yeah, I know, right around when they ended, they were like $1.25. Talk about overpriced pricing. Fucking the telephone people were gypsies. I'm just kidding. So hopefully this is a dark purple, believe it or not. As subtle as can be. By the way, I ran out of tape, if you're wondering, when I started this drawing. So I just sort of like steady-handed the best I could square. I just like literally drew it by hand. I didn't use a ruler or anything. I've bled outside the edge of it a little bit here and there, but I don't care. I kind of ended up liking how it looked too. But it came down to like, you know, riding that wave of inspiration and sitting down and drawing and like going to the store. So I didn't feel like breaking that by going to the store. Calling people on the phone. People are scared of that these days now. I had to concentrate real quick. I didn't want to mess that up. So I find with getting dark with watercolor, you gotta refresh the pigment a little bit more than you would with light ones. When I was in school, we had one paper, and that's how I call them. Yeah, there you go. Back in the old days. That's a damn straight line. Thanks. I've drawn straighter, but it was just had to be just enough to where I didn't care, you know? Alright, now I'm just gonna fill that. Okay, so here's where like maybe a thinner brush should have helped, but not gonna bother. And I already know from this I'm gonna have to make the bushes go even darker. Like it might be that this... Also the trees aren't making sense too, they're gonna go darker too, I just haven't gotten to that yet. I'm 51, so gas was 89 cents a gallon. Holy Christ. Imagine that. Yeah, but y'all made less too. That's the thing. You see $15 an hour everywhere now for a minimum wage. But that's not nearly enough to live. It's noxious. Like, it took forever to get paid slightly more and it still wasn't enough. Didn't mean to do that, but now we're here. Gonna be a thinner tree. In fact, you know what? I'm just gonna take it out all together. So there was, you know, the first case out of the whole drawing where using a bigger brush messed me up a little, but you know, that saved me a lot of time, not switching brushes. You guys are seeing a glare from the water too. Once that dries up, it'll be a solid color. I so love watching the painting process towards its final aspect. So glad, so glad. I want to keep this going for y'all. I really do. Raising minimum wage is the problem. Don't get me going. Yeah, that's definitely a get someone going topic for sure. If I've ever heard one. People get going over that one. There's a lot of those these days. People get going over a lot more things than they used to. Don't get me going on that. I think the sensitivity and censorship is a little through the roof these days. That's where I'll leave it. This feels wrong now. There we go. Agreed. Painting fluorescent green is satisfying. Yes. Speaking of that, I just realized it's probably too late now, but this would have been a great painting to incorporate the glow in the dark powder. I just didn't even think about it because at the time when I started this painting, I was just having fun starting a random painting. Oh, hopefully I'm still there. I think my the pop-out stream preview for Twitch, it only gives you so long and then it just gets angry. I assume you're using fluorescent green on your current paint by number. I didn't realize I was sliding down there, my bad. Overdid it. You're back, so I did disconnect? Is that what you're saying? My bad. I don't know what happened. I am. It's great. Hell yeah. Yeah, you've been pumping those out lately, Kate. Doing work. Would you say it's gotten easier to convince yourself to sit down and do art now that you've convinced yourself to sit down and do art for several months now? I find that's like a muscle. And then like when there's like a large hiatus, it's like the muscle gets weak. Something difficult about the first time. But me ending it here on these black spaces once I fill them in. I'll just cut that off. Only a few more to go. I'll leave that. Again, these trees will be much darker soon. Next time I sit down. The trees in the way back, I almost want you to barely see them. Black can be a deceiving color with like water amounts. Can seem much darker. When it's wet. It's like a black thing. Some weird water-phobic thing happening on the paper there. I don't know what that's about. Could just be like my hand oils. That was an error, but like I said, tree will be darker. This close, I'm not going to change the brush at this point. I'll just see it through. Something that if I thought of ahead of time, I could have done with the watercolor, but I'm thinking of now is I could have done like the classic, the eyes that are glowing in the woods. Oh dang, look at that. My finger touched it. Well, here's what I can try and show you something really quick. Sometimes, if you get to it quick enough, get a brush that's has a little bit more bite to it. Let's see, let's try this one. And just get water on it. Careful not to get up to your painting too close. And unfortunately the brush I grabbed had like red on it from last time. Let me see. One seems good. As you can see, you know, even if I don't get the hue out, which I probably won't, I got the black smudge off enough to where it's not crazy bad. There we go. And that's because I got to it quick. If I waited any longer. As you can see, there's still a little bit of a blemish there, but it's better than a big black blob. I love painting on Art Addict. I like that cat tongue brush. Yeah, is that what it's called? This is called an oval mop. It says an oval wash. My bad. I don't know what half the brushes are called, to be honest with you. But they have like every shape in the universe. And it's a good time to do a little clip for the reel later. All right. Progress. That's all that counts. The oval was pointed like a cat tongue. I want to say to them. Yeah, I really like it. It's my new favorite watercolor brush, and specifically for filling with like smooth tones and also doing detail at the same time. But I would love a different size too, like small, big, large, medium, small, whatever. I went with like a middle of the road one to see how it performed. The tip was already getting a little curved, but that happens. I get a bit aggressive with like mixing my paint brushes in the paint, so I probably do more damage to them than I should be doing. I'm getting gentler with my brushes the longer and I've done it. A little brush care can go a long way. Makes it last a lot longer. And you can reset bristles memory if you can figure out a way to have them sit overnight when they're wet. They gotta dry from a wet stage though. Anyway, remember the discount code till midnight tonight on my website, planetjokum.com is pumpkin. You can get anything off for a discount. So thank you for watching. And give you a little view of that here. Originals and prints. There's a lot of new stuff I added, new organization, so check it out. A lot of sketches like Morris the Frog. Some inks I've done, as well as the newest one and the newest two, I should say. Anyway, that's our little Halloween scene I'm working on right now. Probably, I'm not sure I'll finish it for the month of October, we'll see. Maybe I'll finish it tomorrow. But hope you all have a great night. Thank you so much for watching and hopping in. It was great to see y'all. Kenny, Kate, Steph, all of you. And Mew, that's the other one I was hopped in. Hope to see you stream again soon. Me too, me too. But love you all. Have a great night, and see you next time.